Because now, more than ever, we must show discipline, tolerance, and production to build a strong and better nation. I say that is the main foundation. So come, let us work hand in hand, because this is our land. Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build a nation together. Oh, yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah,
Come, my brother, come, my sister, and let us build a nation together. I think Grenadians are now more aware that we have to make this place what we want to see it. In other words, we have to enhance it. We have to develop it. We have to transform it to what we want it to be. And we are doing so because it is our duty to lay a solid foundation for our children and children. I want Grenada to be better for my children and their children. And I think it is their duty to make it better for the next 2-3 generations. So we need to become more patriotic, genuinely patriotic, to understand we have a duty to make this place better for our children and children. I want to welcome you, those on Facebook. Please share the live. If you're on YouTube, do the same thing. Sharing is caring. I want to start off by saying in New York, it was a great success. Again, everything the NDC organizes, it tend to turn out extremely successful. So I want to give the team in New York, the NDC New York chapter, thumbs up. My good friend, the Honorable Andy Williams, my good friend, Larry Barry, my good friend, Terry Forrester. They were out there in numbers. And I want to say to you, keep doing what you're doing. The NDC is really seen as the party for all Grenadians here at home and in the diaspora, because NDC means well. NDC wants prosperity and betterment for you and your family. And there are some people a bit slow to understand the mission, but they will get there. So I want to commend the NDC chapter. This weekend will be the big thing, the big gala in not this weekend though. It's October the 14th. Today is the 9th. So that's Friday. Today's the 9th. So we have the 10th, 11th, 12th, right? So it's weekend, yes, in Florida. So the Florida NDC chapter, they have the big gala coming up. Our beloved Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Deacon Mitchell, will be there. And we want to encourage the folks in Florida and in the United States, because there will be people from New York and other parts going down to Florida for that event. So let me just play that promo here.
As the NDC Florida chapter celebrates its first anniversary on October 14th, I invite you, Grenadians and friends of Grenada in Florida, to come join us at a grand anniversary gala at the elegant Floridian Ballrooms in Pembroke Pines, South Florida. I will be there as a special guest of honor and will be pleased to meet, greet, and update all of you on what we are doing in government at home. Contributions to the gala are $200, and it promises to be a memorable event. So get your tickets today, online at gotofet.com or from any member of the National Democratic Congress Florida chapter. Proceeds from the gala will go towards the construction of the party's resource center, to the benefit of all Grenadians. So, remember, October 14th, NDC Florida Chapter Inaugural Gala in Pembroke Pines, Florida. Don't miss it.
Right. So that's the most honorable Deacon Mitchell there. He will be in attendance at that gala. So I want to encourage you, the folks in Florida, please make it a date. All right? Make it a date. That's October the 14th. That's about 5 days from today. Buy your tickets. Go to FET, any member, or, the folks of the Florida chapter, any member of the Florida chapter. And I know a good friend who's also organizing up in New York to go down to Florida with a couple of friends. So again, I want to encourage you, support this event. And I really love the fact that the NDC is working extremely hard on a home, getting a place that you can call home. That's institutional strengthening. They're working on that resource center where you're going to have the party office, the national headquarters. You're going to have, places where you can rent, right, for weddings, for events, for retreats, it will be just what we wanted. But I want to say this here. The NNP is angry. When you hear the individual said, well, every time they're having a gala and a party and a this and a that, he's angry because his party and, well, him, firstly, he was in power for a very long time. His party was, well, they held power in Grenada the longest than any other party. And up to today, up to this point, they do not have a place that they can call home. So they're renting a place. So he's angry, he's bitter of the fact that the NDC is well on its way to getting that resource center, to getting that headquarters that it can actually call home. That is why he's out there saying, well, every time there's some party, some gala, some fete, some event, that is exactly why he's angry. He's angry because the NDC is able to mobilize, to organize itself, not just here in Grenada, but in the diaspora. So I want to encourage you, support all events. I know there will be a gala in the United Kingdom. The date, sometime in December, I think. But I'll get the date because I'll promote it for them too. I want to encourage you to support all events because we want that headquarters. We want that resource center, right? And that is a pet project of our beloved Prime Minister. That is really, really great. I want to say to you further, we need to continue with the registration drive. So when you come to Grenada, once you're in Grenada, Carriacou and PT Martinique, please, I want you to register. If you come for a funeral, if you come for vacation, if you come for some special event, please register. Do not leave Grenada without registering to vote. Because this thing is not about just talk. You support and you like and you like it. No. It has to be more than that. We have to move to the next level. So yes, you support, you like, but to actually prove that, to demonstrate that, you must register and vote when that time comes around. I expect between now and the election to have a couple thousand people in the diaspora registering to vote, to participate, coming back home to show your patriotism. A great number of people have already done so, but we want to see more people as you come, register so you can participate in the next election. Because you see, we have to preserve what we have. We have to secure what we have and make sure that that agenda, the transformation agenda, is realized. It can't happen just in 4 years. It cannot happen just in 5 years. We have set ourselves a goal of 10 to 15 years. So we have to win the next election. In fact, I was saying to a friend, if you believe those NNP got tabanka or got a real cocktail, a real beating in the last election, the real icing on the cake will be the next election. That is where the thing go really kusume, right? It will happen. So I'm encouraging you, please, as you come to Grenada, you come in for the 50th independence celebration, I want you to make it a duty and register. As I told you, if you want my assistance, I can assist you. All you need is just your birth certificate, your Grenadian birth certificate or your Grenadian passport. That's all. That's all you need. And then you can register to participate in the election in this country. This is our home. Yes, you might be residing out there, but to make sure that this transformation agenda succeeds, you have to be a part of the process, not just talking it, but making it happen. All right? Very important. I want to also say to you, my next event is on February the 9th. February the 9th, that's 2 days after the independence celebration. So you have quite a number of events and activities before the independence, right? So I decided to have the event on the 9th at the Radisson Crown Ballroom. At the Radisson Crown Ballroom, it will be an evening of elegance, an evening of splendor, an evening of grace, an evening of peace, because it will just be a mellow evening of entertainment, drinks, food. It will be a cocktail-like event. It would not be an event where you come in and fool up your belly, because you would not be able to dance. So, during the day, that Friday, the folks who purchase tickets will be given the opportunity to come at my place for oil down. All day, I will prepare about 10 pots of oil down, a number of people. Twin, you can't miss twin oil down. You cannot miss double oil down, So these are oil down specialists, twin, double. So I will do about 10 pots of oil down, or maybe let's say between 1 and 10, because I like to be realistic here. Between 1 and 10 pots of oil down based on the amount of tickets sold. So the people who purchase tickets will get that chance to come at my place and eat the oil down. I mean, it's free, the oil down, but you're gonna have to. But you will have to buy the drinks, right? So I'm gonna have a little drink up here. You're gonna buy it at my lawn right here where I am. So we're doing that during the daytime, but the night, because it's a cocktail event during the night, so you're not gonna get oil down and so on at that cocktail event, right? Wine, rum, beers, finger foods, just name it. And Solid the Band, they would top it off, because everybody asking, well, when is the next event with Solid the Band? They want to shake a leg, So Solid the Band will be performing there. My good friend Lyndon Langdon, right? Langdon, the saxophonist with the saxophone. Couple stand-up poets or spoken word poetry artists. We will have some other artists who will, do their thing. Kem Jones operates. I am that kind of person to make sure that this thing is right, and that you enjoy it, that you want it after, and you're asking, when is the next, right? So remember I told you we were supposed to have 10 events, but instead of having the small events, it will just take money, really, right? Because this event will cost $45,000 or more, all right? This event that we have coming up will cost within the range of $45,000. So, so having the small events really just doesn't make sense. You understand the point? So we're having that homecoming event is the 50th independence, that homecoming event on the 9th of February. So book that date, write it down, mark it down, make sure you're there, make sure you understand right. So Kem, the gala is right. So the gala in the United Kingdom is the 4th of November. So my good friend out there, I know you're going to send me an ad, a promo, and I'll push that for you. So my good friend there, Yvonne Adams, she's saying to me, Kem, the the gala in London is on November the 4th. So please send that for me, right? So again, let me say to you, the event is the Friday after Independence. Independence is Wednesday, February the 7th. The event, my next event, is on Friday, 2 days after Independence. So I want to, right? So Terry Alexander is asking, where in London? So Terry, I would provide you with the information. They have not yet furnished me or give me the ad and the promo, but I know that the gala in Florida is on October 14th. And as I was promoting that, my mind clicked on the London gala, because the UK chapter of the NDC, they're having that gala in November. The Prime Minister will be there. Our beloved Prime Minister will be there at that event there too. So it's November the 4th. Good friend saying to me is November the 4th. But once I get that information, I will promote it because it's important that we support all the events. Linton Durant, I know you're out there in London. I hope you can attend that event too. Right. So again, we have to support all the events. So coming back to my event now, saying to you, the 9th of February, that's when the event will be. So during the daytime, from let's say 11, 12, during the day, the people who purchase tickets, because remember, tickets will go on sale either later this week or early next week. You know how I do it, early up. Tickets will go on sale as of either this week or next week. So again, saying to you, the tickets will be 200 EC. 200 EC per ticket. So the tickets will be 200 EC. Again, just letting you know that. All right? 200 EC, not US, 200 EC per ticket. It will be a formal event. Right? It will not be like the event on the beach, right? Where you could wear your short pants and no. It will be a more elegant event. So start looking at your nice dandan, what you're going to be wearing on that night. It will be an event. You go shake a leg too, all right? And it would start sometime about 7, right? 7 p.m. thereabout, 7 p.m. until 12, 1 o'clock in the night. So again, just letting you know, it will be a good time for you to enjoy the 58th independence celebration. It's more pulling down the curtain, so to speak, right? Because before the event, you have quite a number of other events. And after all of that, then you come to my event. You come to my event. So remember, it's at the Crown Ballroom at Radisson Hotel, right? Radisson Hotel, the Crown Ballroom. It's on the 9th of February. That's 2 days after Independence celebration, the 50th. All right, so you're going to hear some more, you're going to know more about it. So I say, just tune in, Kem. Can you recap, please? Yes. So a good friend, Michael, there is saying to me, just recap. So let me again say to you, first, let me promote Florida Gala, right? The gala in Florida. That's the first thing. Because I realize some people just join me on the live. So the Florida Gala is the first one. That's a weekend on the 14th of October. Our beloved Prime Minister will be there. Once you're in Florida, once you're in United States of America, please check that out.
As the NDC Florida chapter celebrates its first anniversary on October 14th, I invite you, Grenadians and friends of Grenada in Florida, to come join us at a grand anniversary gala at the elegant Floridian Ballrooms in Pembroke Pines, South Florida. I will be there as a special guest of honor and will be pleased to meet, greet, and update all of you on what we are doing in government at home. Contributions to the gala are $200, and it promises to be a memorable event. So get your tickets today, online at gotofet.com or from any member of the National Democratic Congress Florida chapter. Proceeds from the gala will go towards the construction of the party's resource center to the benefit of all Grenadians. So remember, October 14th, NDC Florida chapter inaugural gala in Pembroke Pines, Florida. Don't miss it.
Right, beautiful. So don't miss that as the first event. All right. So that's weekend coming. Our beloved Prime Minister will be there. It's Florida, United States of America. Then the gala in the United Kingdom, that's the UK chapter of the NDC, will be on the 4th of November. But once I get the ad and the promo and everything like that, I will push that. All right. But my event, right? So somebody came here. I need to know about your event. Good. So my event is on February the 9th. February the 9th, that's 2 days after the 50th Independence celebration. 2 days after. So you have Wednesday's Independence, Thursday, Friday is when the event will be. It will be at the Radisson Crown Ballroom. That's at the Radisson Hotel. At the Crown Ballroom, that's where it will be. It will be an elegant event. It's a cocktail event. It's a formal event. In other words, you have to wear your nice dandan, right? You have to wear your nice dandan on that night. Your whatever, right? So that event is on the Friday, 2 days after. But because it's a cocktail event, lights, drinks, and so on, finger foods, and during the day, I would invite the folks with tickets to come at my place. I'll do a couple pots of oil down at my place where you come and you eat. It's no cost where that is concerned. So you're not paying for the food. But that's only the people who have tickets to my event. All right? And then you're going to just buy the drinks or whatever that I would have a bar here. Right? And then during the nighttime, so you go eat, you go drink here, and then during the nighttime, we go in and shake a leg because it will be, it's not just you come in and sit down around a table and listen to something. No. It will be an event to shake your leg and have fun, have a nice time. You understand? Socialize, mix, mingle. It will be nice. It will be grand. It will be, watch, you hear me? It will be, that's not a word, but we go work it out. It will be a very, very well put event. So again, I'm telling you in advance, tickets will go on sale soon, but it will be online too. I know a number of friends send me WhatsApp messages a while ago. Just check it out there. And he said, I hope it's on. The tickets will be online. Yes, the tickets will be available online. So once I tell you tickets available, it will be tickets in person and tickets online. All right. So giving you a little heads up on that particular event, because we have October, November, December, January, February. So we have roughly 5 months. Roughly 5 months to go. So again, I want to encourage you. And if you're not going to be there as usual, sponsor a couple of tickets. It will be 200 EC for the tickets, unless thing changes. But for now, that is where we are at, 200 EC for tickets. All right? Nice. I want to say, moving away from the promo, and I want to say to you, do not be persuaded by the few obstructionist viewpoints you hear on couple radio programs. They do not represent the majority of Grenadians. Let me repeat that. Do not be moved by the few obstructionist viewpoints, comments, opinions on talk radio during the morning time and the Sunday programs that they have generally. They do not represent the majority of Grenadians. I remember in the lead up to the election, the last general election, you had this Genevieve, I think is her name, Genevieve Gibbs or whatever they call her. I think she works at GDB. She was calling the Plead Your Cause program nearly every morning, pushing a certain agenda. There were a couple others together with her doing that every morning. And I told folks they do not represent the greater number or the greater population. They just don't. So don't be concerned. They're speaking to a very small group of people. And after the election, all of them vanish. They just melt in thin air. You don't hear them anymore. So you have one or two of them who still would call that program and so on, but insignificant. But the majority of them who were doing that during the election time, in the lead up to the election, they vanish. Right? Because they were not speaking to the majority of people. Let me tell you this. If you don't understand the market that you exist in, you'll be doing stuff thinking that you're succeeding, but you're not. The majority of people in Grenada, they have a cell phone. All right? The majority of people in Grenada, they have a cell phone or two. Also, they may have an iPad. Right? So they may have an iPad that they utilize from time to time to get the news, to get the information, an iPad. All right? Or they may have a tablet, it's a notepad or whatever you call it, right? Or a computer. It may not be a desktop computer. It might be a laptop, but you don't find much of that as before. People just go with the tablet and they're cool with that, right? So the majority of people in Grenada and abroad, they get their news not just from radio. Their radio is still relevant. Huh? Don't fool yourself. Radio is still relevant. There are people who listen via radio, but people get the information more so from the internet, online, social media. So when I do this program, there are people who are going to go back and listen to it on YouTube or on Facebook. They're going to go back. The recording, it's uploaded after I finish the program. It's uploaded. You can go back and check out all the programs, right? So they go back and they listen to the program on their own timing. Sometimes they skip the morning, they listen during the night, or during the night, they take in two other programs. The morning one first, they listen to that. Then they go into the live program because I'm on from 8 to 9. Right? So I'm saying to you, most people get the information through that source. And that is where things are going online. That is why Vibes FM, for example, Wild 106.3 FM, they're all online. So they're not just radio, like having a radio in your house and you're listening to radio. They're also online. So NNP and that small clique, they still believe that their supporters or the people they want to connect with, all they do, they listen radio. That's what they believe. But that's a thing of the past. So we have moved forward as a people, but the NNP still living in the past. That is why their leader, their ruler, still with that kind of confrontational behavior, that kind of divisive way about him. But Grenadians generally, in terms of consumption, we consume a lot of information on a daily basis. So people tend to go online to get that kind of information. So I'm saying do not be fooled by, one or two of these guys, the chatters on the street, the Clifford Bridgman, the Mandu, the River Road, the whole little clique, the A-Band, the Anne-Marie girl, all of them. Do not be persuaded by that. They do not have that kind of following. People don't regard them as anything important. When they talk, it goes out in thin air. They don't control the narrative in this country. For example, the issue of the houses. These houses were constructed as low-income houses. So you have to have an income. These houses were not constructed for the poor and the vulnerable who don't have an income. So we have to get that clear. The 647 houses or apartments, they were constructed for low-income earners. And in Grenada, when they say low income, they mean a $1,500, a $1,800, a $2,000 and down. Or maybe just a little above. Let's say $2,500 and down. That's low income, generally. So you have $1,200 you're working for, low income. $1,300, low income. So that is what they mean when they speak about low income earners. And what housing did, they communicated with the financial institutions to say to them, I want you to make your funds available for these people. So they're going to come to you, you're going to give them a loan, and they will buy the apartments. But for those with money, who have the money, they can buy it cash. You don't have to go to borrow if you have it already. All right? So do not confuse yourself. Low income means you having an income. If you're poor and vulnerable, you have no income. And that is the trap. That's the debt trap that the NNP put their supporters in when they gave them these low income houses for 30-something thousand, 40-something thousand, 50-something $1,000. They actually gave them these houses for that kind of cost. The NNP, Dabo housing scheme, Frequente housing scheme, Subi's housing scheme. So they're poor and they're vulnerable, but yet for all, you gave them these apartments for 30-something thousand, 40-something $1,000. How will they pay for it? That is the dilemma that a lot of people face in this country. So the NNP call these people poor and vulnerable. They're unemployed. They don't have a form of income. Or if they're doing any work, it's temporary, it's in and between. So they don't have a permanent cash flow every month or so. But they gave them that. And then the NNP saying that they love these people. You cannot love them and you know that they are poor and vulnerable, that they're unemployed, and you put them in these apartments and you give them a cost for it, the apartment, at 30 something thousand, at 40 something thousand, at 50 something $1,000. So all the talk that the NNP is talking now, you have to start reasoning as a Grenadian and say, but wait, you call these people poor and vulnerable, because that is what they're saying. They're saying give it to the poor and the vulnerable for 30,000, 40 something thousand, because in fact, the ruler, the old cock, said, well, we know you're not going to, we know you're not going to give them for free, or we're not saying you should give them for free. I think that is his exact words. You're not going to give them for free. So it should be within the range of $30,000 and $50,000. That is what the individual is saying. He's advocating for the price to be within that range. And he said, it's for the poor and the vulnerable. He said, this thing is for the poor and the vulnerable. Okay. So if you're poor and you're vulnerable, how will you pay? How will you pay? In fact, even if the house costs or the apartments cost $20,000, the poor and the vulnerable without an income will not be able to pay. So what the NNP did to their supporters is trap them. It's a death trap. So they trap them for a long, long time, because this predicament, this problem that they now face, where they have been found delinquent, not paying what they agreed to pay housing authority for Dabo, Sobeys, and Frequency, the $200 a month, or the $150 a month, or the $175 a month or so, right? They reneged on that. They're unable to pay that. So this situation that they found themselves in is because of the NNP. The NNP created that mess and put them in it. Because in the first case, they're unemployed. In the first case, they consider them to be poor and vulnerable. How will they pay the $39,000 or the $40,000 or the $50,000 that the NNP, right? The letter that the NNP gave them. Remember, the NNP put these people in these houses before this new housing scheme and so on. The Chinese built some housing schemes and they were low income, but the NNP administration gave it to quote unquote the poor and the vulnerable, and told them that they have to pay 30 something thousand, 40 something thousand, 50 something $1,000. Right? That is exactly what happened. So you have a situation now where they can't pay. So they started paying the first month, second month, third month, fourth month, fifth month, and then they just stop. The $150 a month or the $200 a month, they just stop pay. So the NNP actually caused them to be where they are, in debt and in the red, because they have not been paying what they're supposed to pay to housing authority. And I hope you understand what I am saying. So you hear NNP from time to time talk about the poor and the vulnerable and the poor and the vulnerable. Why do you want to take an apartment that costs $100,000, right? And you know housing authority is actually giving you that for $73,000, right? Why do you want to take an apartment like that and give it to, according to the NNP, the poor and the vulnerable, and say to these people that they have to pay? Where will they get the money from? And that's the question, you know. Many people not asking the old cock that very important question. Why, in the first case, you took these people, placed them in these apartments in Dabo, in Sobeys, in Frequency? You didn't give them for free. You gave them a letter which says you have to pay 30 something thousand, 40 something $1,000, right? You gave them that. They have to pay. They started paying for the first 5-6 months, the $150 or the $200 they agree to pay housing authority. Then they just stop. They just stop. But any reasonable thinking person would say the NNP was evil to put these people in the apartments, knowing that they're not working, knowing that they're the poor and the vulnerable, and you ask them to pay the 30-something thousand or the 40-something $1,000. Anybody with common sense would question that. So now they're saying to the government, they're saying to housing authority, well, again, give it to the poor and the vulnerable. That's what they're saying, you know. For 30-something, 40-something, 50-something $1,000, where would these people get that money to pay? So sometimes words come out from people's mouth, or mouth open, words jump out, and some of these people believe that they're smart, they're the brightest outside here. But when you sit down and you reason it out, when you sit and you start to ask some questions, you say, but wait, okay, they poor and they vulnerable. How will they pay? Where would they get the money from to pay? That's the issue here, you know. That's the issue. And there are some people in this country who making all of us look bad. Because every time they open their mouth, is the poor and the vulnerable, the poor and the vulnerable. So it's like Grenada is only that. The people that exist here, they're only that. Every time the old cock opens his mouth, is the poor and the vulnerable, the poor and the vulnerable. So they're making all of us look as though we are poor and vulnerable too. But we are not. We are not poor and vulnerable. And I don't want you to consider yourself poor and vulnerable. I don't. So I am saying to these people, stop and think. Stop branding all of us as poor and vulnerable. Stop making all of Grenada look like we're all poor and vulnerable. We are not. We are a determined people. We are people with pride. We have our standards. We're warm, we're friendly, yes, but we are not poor and vulnerable. Come on, you put a seed on the concrete, it will grow. I'm telling you, this place is fertile. We have everything that we want, really, in the backyard, by your side, your neighbor, your friend. Come on. So the NNP consistently calling all of us in this country the poor and the vulnerable, the poor and the vulnerable, the poor and the vulnerable. But we are not. Our people want betterment. Our people are striving for that. So let's change that mindset. And we have to call on them. We have to call on the NNP to stop calling our Grenadian brothers and sisters poor and vulnerable. You have to call them out. Because what they've done to these people is to trap them, enslave them. It's like mental servitude. That is what they have done to our people. Because I just cannot fathom, and fathom is understand, comprehend, same thing. Fathom. I cannot fathom for a moment how you could call these people poor and vulnerable and want them to pay $50,000, $40,000 for an apartment, or for a 2-bedroom apartment or a 1-bedroom. I just cannot understand that. They're not working. Where would they get the money from? Where would the money come from to pay? We have an example already. Under the NNP, they were given these apartments for 30-something thousand, 40-something thousand, 50-something $1,000. Monge, Subies, Frequenti. They started paying the $150 that they agreed to pay housing every month, and they just stop. They just stop pay because they don't have a payday. They're not working anywhere. They call them the poor and the vulnerable. So Why should they pay? Right? But the NNP did these people that. They trapped them. So they can't pick themselves up. Right now, there's arrears of $4.9 million, you know. That's the kind of arrears we're talking about, you know. 4.5 million, 4.9, sorry, 4.9, up to 4.5, $4.9 million they are in arrears of in the three housing schemes. The poor and the vulnerable, what's what they call them. Come on. So they owing that kind of money, and you still want government to pick up and give these people the 647 apartments and rooms for free. And if not for free, for 30-something thousand, as you see, 40-something thousand, as you see, 50-something thousand, where will they get that money from to pay? They will never be able to pay. The poor and the vulnerable, as you call them, they will never be able to pay. But we have to be realistic as a people. So it's not because you're in the politics and you want to come back into power and you believe one or two people are going to listen to you with your rubbish. When they start thinking, when they start reasoning, they will find you out. They would realize that what you're actually saying or asking for is not feasible. It's not possible. Because the old cock said, well, the apartments were meant for low-income people, right? He went on to say, well, you know, we're not saying you ought to give them for free, but $30-something thousand, $40-something thousand is reasonable for them, but they're not working. They don't have a payday. The poor and the vulnerable. If they're poor and they're vulnerable, it means that the money that they would have on a daily basis would be a specific amount. It's like you say, the people in some parts of Africa, they earn under $1 per day. For example, the people who get the poor relief assistance, right? They consider them to be poor and vulnerable. They get $300 per month, right? $300 per month, and so let's do the math. You're looking at 300 times 12. So they're getting on a yearly basis, they're getting $3,600 annually when you add everything up. Then you divide that by 365 days in the year. They're actually earning or getting under $10 a day, right? $10.81 or so per day. So that is what is considered in Grenada as poor and vulnerable, as a poor relief assistance. So when the NNP, when the old cock refers to them as poor and vulnerable, he's saying that they're actually earning under $10 a day. So that $10 has to provide a breakfast, lunch, and supper for them. That poor person, under $10. That's the poor and the vulnerable, right? But the old cock still saying, well, give them these apartments. How will they be able to pay? But it's a conversation that we must continue. And we have to do so sober-mindedly, for a want of a better term here. We have to do so sober, to reason in a very calm, selective, simple way. So you're going to understand. Folks, we're out of time. I want to thank you very much for being a part of the program. I want to wish you all the best. Have a wonderful day. I'll be back with you tonight in the hub, starting from